And welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Now, if you're joining us right now, we are joined by representatives of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, or IICA, and they are here to talk to us about building a roadmap to a bioeconomy for Belize. We are joined by Willie Chan, who is the Belize Technical Coordinator for IICA, the IICA Delegation in Belize. Also, Gabriela Quiroga, who is a Bioeconomy and Productive Development Program for IICA, and Elizabeth Hodson de Jaramillo, who is a consultant and the chair on bioeconomy and sustainable development of IICA. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So perhaps we can jump right into the conversation by let's define, or for our viewers, what exactly we mean by bioeconomy. Anybody can join in.
Sure.
Maybe Willie.
Well, by what we define in simple terms with bioeconomy is maximizing the use of our resources. That's the simplest term I could imagine of.
Yeah.
Gabriela?
I could complete it a bit.
Yes.
Because bioeconomy is a way of life. It's an approach to make much more efficient and sustainable the use of our resources, biological, and by means of adding knowledge, like technologies, new technologies to add value, processing the food, to maintain for more time the value of the natural products.
Yeah, yeah. This is, I think what is critical about talking about bioeconomy is that it perhaps responds to one of the concerns people have in looking at, okay, we want to be environmentally friendly, we want to be conscious of how we're using things, but we also have an economy to worry about, and we need to know that there is going to be money moving around in the country. Is that the case?
Yeah, you are right, because the main concern is our planet.
Yes.
And sustainable development goals. Yes. But the principal point is that it's profitable. So you are having resources, money resources, to conserve natural resources. So thank you.
What you're doing in this workshop is looking at the opportunities that do exist, and I know that you have worked in Latin America. There are other countries that have found very innovative ways to make money from the natural resources. Is Belize unique in where we are? Because it feels that we're still trying to explore ways to capitalize on what we know we're blessed with.
Sure. We started this work last year in November. The first thing we started to do was creating awareness, because, for many people, the word itself, bioeconomy, was something new. They were like, what's bioeconomy? What does this mean? What does it entail? So we wanted to raise that awareness. So last year we did a workshop, and this year we have done 3 workshops so far, continue raising awareness, and now we are trying to identify, as you have mentioned, opportunities that we have available. And yes, each country is different, so there's not like a recipe that you could give a country and say, hey, use this to develop your bioeconomy. No, we have to look at what they have, their conditions, environmental, social, political, legal aspects. So we have to look at those things.
And this is the type of things that we do at IICA, basically to get inspired from other processes in other parts of Latin America, of course, but worldwide, how they're doing to really introduce and embed their own realities into this new approach that is called bioeconomy, that we found out that we have been doing for so long already. Probably we have been, introducing this concept, but as Willie was saying, and Elizabeth, we're really trying to see what the opportunities are within the country, and letting and helping and supporting the Belizeans and the Ministry of Agriculture, of course, to discover your own way, because we're here, to support those processes from the main opportunities that there are in the country.
And so far, based on your work, how do you think Belize is doing? We have a lot of natural resources. We have a lot of free open space. We have a lot of different types of resources as well. Are we maximizing it? What are we? Exactly. That already. I guess I should let you take it from there, because we already have a reaction to that question. How? Yeah. So how are we doing?
Well, I think, yeah, you have lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
And you have a very special one. Well, if we are talking about bioeconomy, we are talking about biomass, biological mass,
Yeah.
which is everything.
Yes.
And is based in agriculture for the biomass production. But you also have an additional one, and you are very important in agriculture. And you have several opportunities, like in fruits, adding value, not exporting just commodities, but adding value locally, so the local communities will benefit from this.
Yeah.
But the other one, a huge, enormous one, is the tourism. And we are trying to introduce the idea of scientific tourism, because common tourists will sometimes spoil the environment. If we work much more and more strongly in scientific tourism, they will teach us how to conserve, and then we can expand the whole thing, but with the conservation concept. So yeah, you have a lot of things, and I think you can add some more of the things we have thought about.
Just before you do though, we gotta explore this more. Scientific tourists?
Of course.
What do they do? What do they
For
do?
conservation,
Oh.
the reef.
Uh-huh.
My God.
They come to see it.
Natural resources,
Yeah.
all these conservation areas, and preserve the parts.
Yeah.
Even bird watching.
Yes.
So you have to learn a lot. You will teach communities about their surrounding resources, and they will be guides. So it's a huge opportunity, as I said.
You know, one of the things that we have identified is, for example, the rural communities that are within the protected areas, the buffer communities. You know, with agriculture now, you have a lot of intrusion into the protected areas, so we want to try and see how we can create a model of regenerative agriculture, how we could at the same time conserve, but also receive some of the services that the ecosystem has to provide us.
And you know, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I think internationally, one of the trends that at least I've been seeing is, since you talk about, you know, rural communities or even indigenous communities who for, you know, thousands of years have developed some sort of sustainable practices in terms of using, you know, what they have around them, you know, whether it's, you know, the trees and the leaves, and to make, you know, household items, and to even to develop as a community. I think just an example that I've seen recently popping up internationally is, you know, in terms of food packaging, using you know, leaves or things like that.
Like how we make our tamales.
Oh yeah, I think that's a great example. Is that an area that you've looked at as well, and that Belize can maximize or, you know, develop more?
Definitely, because with bioeconomy, what we are looking at is decarbonizing the economy, moving from fossil-based to a more bio-based, and this is where all the generation of bio-based products come. For example, the biodegradable, you have biopharmaceuticals, so you have a number of things that you could develop from the bioeconomy.
I want to add, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'm very enthusiastic about this. No, the thing is, yes, and you are so right, because we have to learn from biological wisdom and also from the community's wisdom, because they are the best ones to teach us how to preserve and how to use in a circular way everything. Because one of the parts of bioeconomy is to reduce the waste production. We don't have waste. We have co-products or byproducts which can be used for another things. So we reduce a lot this waste or no waste in this circular way, the circular economy, and local communities are the best teachers for this.
And a challenge though, because we have been running this workshop with different public and private stakeholders, and we were just discussing yesterday, is that it's about the human talent and the human capabilities and abilities that you will need to go around bioeconomy in the proper way. For instance, yesterday we have been, showing and sharing different examples of young people and how do they start? They start taking risks. They start, exploring new businesses. So it was also, just to recall the name of your program as well, an eye-opener on how much we need, people with this open mentality and really keen to explode their creativity to get into bioeconomy business, basically. Yes.
What is the starting point? What was the best starting point? Because I hear quite a bit in terms of, I just skimmed through this publication you've given me, but you're looking at biofuel, you could look at artificial intelligence to be able to help to create and generate new ideas. But then there's also tradition, and we have some pretty good traditions in Belize. We were talking about the banana leaves, for example. We already use that as a part of packaging sometimes. But I think of things like deforestation, which we're trying to work towards. And I've always wondered, and perhaps you can shed light, carbon credits seems like one of the easiest ways to be able to generate an income. It's being paid for the trees that let go oxygen into the air, which we need. It cleans up the air. Sure. What about ideas like that? Being able to make money off of what already exists?
That's exactly what regenerative agriculture entails.
Okay.
When we speak about this, is trying to minimize the negative impact that we have on our land system, on our forest system, so that we could at the same time be producing. We have different methodologies, for example, integrated soil fertility management. We have the use of organic materials, composting. We have the use now of different legumes that could bring back nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. So those are things that we can introduce, into the regenerative agriculture.
Yes, I will have to add something.
Yes, sure.
No, the key point of this is that bioeconomy is not an activity. It's not a science. It's not a discipline. It's a way of life. It's a political decision. So the important thing is that everyone must be involved and everyone must be committed to it. That's why we need you to increase the awareness of people, of all the society, to participate in all these efforts. So,
and there are economic opportunities.
Of course, a lot of them. Wasted opportunities.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking precisely of that, waste. You said composting, and I'm just thinking to myself, I did that in school, like we kind of learned a little bit of how to do it, and it was just a skill you learned and you stopped.
No, continue.
No, I know. And it's kind of practices like that we don't adopt as a regular part of our life that could help reduce our own expenses.
Exactly. Because we normally see that, as something that we are throwing away. And we had also in this workshop these people representing a restaurant. And they saying that they're trying to, of course, minimize waste. That is one way of, getting into bioeconomy. But also from what we traditionally consider something that we waste or we throw it away, how you could transform it and get a new product. And this is all about bioeconomy as well. There's always this, potential of transformation into a new product.
Now, how do you said the workshop is about exploring opportunities. Who's present and who are you trying to engage in this process?
We have present private stakeholders, we have the public stakeholders, we have government officials, we have different ambassadors also that have been attending the workshop. So
Academy.
we are catering, yes, an academy, of course.
Yes, sorry.
So we are catering to as much persons as we can as possible.
Yeah. And what's been the interest?
Oh, it's very.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think we
Very
were
high.
fascinated yesterday to see them, how they have been interacting and
They're so
discussing.
enthusiastic, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
Because it's being able to kind of build the connection, bioeconomy, it sounds so
Get all
foreign,
together.
like a brand new concept. But
Right.
when you break it down the way you just have here,
Yes.
we're all thinking of opportunities, aren't you,
Yeah.
Gabby?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think also, since you spoke about public stakeholders and the government's role, what about, in terms of their part to play in terms of, actually, putting together, like, for instance, a regulatory framework or,
Yeah.
even incentives to
Yeah.
make people in the country do this, whether it's in the form of making more people recycle or reduce, or actually being proactive about putting a policy towards that. Do you find that here the people that you've met with so far are also really interested in actually moving forward in that manner?
Yes, it is. And that's precisely what's going to be the next step. After this, awareness and sensitization of the public is going in to see how we could, with the roadmap, fit it into a national strategy, policy development, and a legal framework as well. And of course, we had the ambassador of Mexico with us yesterday, and he has welcomed this initiative also, and to connect not just the agriculture, but the country itself with the Mexican counterparts, so that we could identify different opportunities that we could capitalize on.
Yeah.
Exactly. And actually, yes, I was going to add that the methodology that Elizabeth is leading, basically, it's, allowing all the participants to analyze how, different dimensions like the environmental, social, economical, technical, legal, and so forth are really, positioning certain critical factors. And one thing that they had mentioned yesterday that it did surprise us, it was that participants said that some of the legal framework, the enabling environment is there actually. But, there's still this challenge of putting it to work and see how it's gonna, merge into different businesses and really supporting new income for the farmers in this case.
How do you push them? Push them past the threshold of you start to understand, generate ideas, but it seems still far-fetched. How do you?
No. The thing is, there are lots of things we already have. You already have. So it's like push the social responsibility and to get all around it. And remember that this is a political, legal, but the whole society must be committed. And it's just open your eyes and see you are doing it.
Yes.
You have it.
Yeah.
Improve it.
Yeah.
Rationalize it and make it in a circular economy. And that's it. It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's the very easy way to survival and to save the planet.
So we know the planet benefits. How do the people benefit?
Because you are making new businesses. You are creating decent jobs. You are generating income, especially in the local level. Because you are adding value, you are processing or transforming locally, so you can add value, and the benefits, the economical benefits, will come to this society. So that is the way to do it. That's why we are so enthusiastic.
I'm sure. So tell me from your perspective, you arrive in Belize, you look around, you do your research, you see all the wealth that we have. What's perhaps one idea that sparked that you think could be put into effect tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
To transform like banana, let's take banana, to transform, not just to export the whole thing, the commodity, but to add value, to use flour to make some chips and sell them to these type of things. And you can start this circular economy, and the benefits will go to the local people.
So instead of having
So it's
waste
easy.
product from banana,
Yeah.
Yes.
And even with the peels, you can make a biofilm and make bioplastics, biodegradable packaging. See? It's easy.
I love your enthusiasm. Yeah, because we don't think of, we think of the one target market you're
and no,
going
probably
after.
this will be so highly, it will demand so much money.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
not
Exactly.
true.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
depends. You have different levels of technology.
Yeah.
And the other thing we haven't mentioned is that we are getting together knowledge, traditional knowledge,
Yeah.
and new knowledge, so to put them together and to make use of the whole thing.
Sure. Just to give an example, we have, for example, the citrus industry. First, it
Yeah.
was just exporting oranges.
Yeah.
Then they went into producing juices. Now they are doing citrus pellet for livestock feed.
Yes.
They're extracting limonene for citrus oil, and they are using the rest of the bagasse for compost. So
Yeah.
there's no waste.
Exactly.
They don't waste
circular thing.
anything.
There's no waste.
Yeah.
Wow.
No
Okay.
waste. Just buy products and sell products
Yes.
for profitable business.
Yeah. So that, I mean, because that was going to be my next question as to whether or not you faced any pushback, or people saying, "Oh no, we don't have enough money," or "This is too much for me." But I think the impression that I get, at least from our conversation, is that people have been very enthusiastic and been trying to embrace, new ideas or new ways of doing things.
Yes.
So where do you go from here? You sit with the stakeholders and you create a roadmap, which is kind of saying these are the areas that we want to
The
venture
people
into.
decided.
Yeah.
The participants had decided. But it's just a model.
Yeah.
Because anyone can follow the same steps
Yeah.
and decide a new business.
Yeah. All right. And then what do we do with it from there?
As I mentioned, then we try and go into the political aspect of it,
Yeah.
trying to put it into a national plan, strategize it. That's the next step.
Okay.
Yes, and we're looking forward that people, take on board and they make their own proposal and see how it goes. We know that next year it's going to be, challenging for the country, but we look forward that still, these new approaches are considered and, taken farther, but by the different stakeholders.
Yeah. Well, you've already.
I think that people can push for the
Yeah.
political decision.
Yeah.
Because if we have very good perspectives, you can push.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think you've already inspired some thought here. I want to know how you make banana chips now.
Very easily
All right.
and cheap.
And you're moving into day 2?
Yes, into day
Yes,
2 of the
today,
workshop today.
yeah.
Actually, one of the products that have been developed by the agro-processing unit of the ministry is the banana powder as an instant powder that you could use to make porridge. That you could use at the school feeding programs, and they are fortifying it with different flavors: vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. So
Okay, you just opened my eyes to that one.
they have it there. They have the recipe. Everything
Yeah.
is just for someone to say, you know what, I'm gonna mass produce this now.
And I guess people are probably wondering why we're talking so much about bananas. It's because there's only a specific type of
Right.
banana that can be exported. So anything that doesn't meet that standard stays locally.
Stays local.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
those are just examples.
Yeah, and they're perfectly good bananas. They're just not,
Yeah.
Right.
according
Maybe,
to what
yeah.
the international markets want.
But I was
Sure.
thinking maybe your chef next time could to use some of those and show
Yeah.
it. It's a good idea.
Never know.
Yes.
All right. So if someone wants to find out more, or even jump in at a late phase today, what do they need to do?
Well, they could reach us at our office at Belmonpan. Our numbers are 8220222 and 8221087, and they could just ask for the information or log on to our website, www.iica.int.
All right. Thank you for coming in, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing all this information with us and helping us understand that it's not just about creating a bioeconomy, it's about adapting the lifestyle. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Lebanese Chef Roger, as he's going to make some eggplant for us today, right? That's coming up after the break. Please stay tuned.